Thank you. Thanks everybody, for attending, and really thank you to the organization, of this 17th Linguistic Landscape, because me, personally, Jose Felix Ontañón, I'm belonging, to two organizations that you can see the logo below, AndaluGeeks and CEA, that stands for Society for the Study of the Andalusian. But we are not a public body. We are not a university. We are social civil organizations. We are linguistic activists. And I'm really I have to thank the organization, because very exactly the same presentation that we are doing here today, we cannot do that, in Andalusia, in my home region, for discussing the Andalusian language. There is an equivalent of this Congress being held in October in Malaga, one of the provinces of Andalusia. And the same presentation that we are doing here has been dismissed in that university with no further justification, I have to tell. And we are asking for the justification. Reasons you might find, along the presentation and what I want to show to you. So very happy to come here representing my organizations. And it has been a pity, that I cannot stay longer, in the conference, I have to rush taking a bus to Dublin as I finish my presentation. So if you have any further, I'm here, actually, to establishing contact with other research departments of other universities in the case you want further studying the Andalusian situation, or if we, from our activist organizations, we can share resources and lesson learned resources in the form of applications for promoting the minorized languages. We are also an open source development community. If we are promoting the Andalusian language digitally through applications, open source. If you may think, that can be used on your own promoting of your minorized language or endangered languages, if it is your case, we are happy to help. Here's the email where you can contact me. And if I only receive one email from any of you, the trouble would be worth it. So, the Andalusian language is on the streets. It's depicted, in the public space. And that's something that the Andalusian population knows. People in Andalusia acknowledge that they have. Call it dialect, call it variety, language variety, call it a language itself, which is my preferred option. But they know. And they are using Andalusian language for protesting, like doing graffitis on street. They're using Andalusian for promoting their business, to mark the local identity of restaurants, shops, against the mass touristification. One of the topic of the Congress crisis, isn't it? My study and my presentation is about the crisis with the mass tourism that we are suffering in Andalusia, that region at the south of Spain, as you can see in the map, and also against the linguistic minorization that the Andalusian language is suffering. Those are the related topics with the Congress, that we're presenting here. But the Andalusian people know, that we have our own language, and that's depicted in a project that we have started from our NGOs, from our social civil organizations. So what have we done? We have created an application, a web application and mobile application. You can download by scanning the QR code, the application, if you want to, or you can access to the URL link for the web version of the app. And we are creating one of the projects, that I'm introducing here. It's Andalusian Linguistic Landscape. It is a citizen science project where we ask the population, the Andalusian population, to take a snapshot with the mobile phone to any Andalusian scripture that they found in the public spaces, in the urban spaces. Graffitis, stickers, restaurants, public signs of any kind, and contribute to a common corpus. Today, we have 400 samples across Andalusia, not that much. Our ambition is to reach the thousands, step by step. But today, I have some, even if it is an interim result, I have some insights to share here with you, that I'll be doing along the presentation. But here you can download that. This is what we are doing. We are calling the Andalusian population to contribute to a science project, okay, for mapping the Andalusian linguistic landscape. Why are we doing this? You might think, okay, or what's beside the method, okay, that I have presented with the project? What are our goals, okay, as a civil organization? We have, this is our hypothesis, no? Let's say. It's like if we are able to collect a significant number of samples, then this project can serve as a strong scientific marker of the Andalusian ethno-linguistic identity. Ethno-linguistic identity related with our dialect variety language, my preferred document is language, okay? It's something that even the sociological studies in Andalusia, they cover. There are, from time to time, we have public surveys asking people about how do you feel with your accent. They will tell, not the language, okay? And people consistently respond that they have a strong relation, affirmation in their accent identity. We believe that this is something that can be covered with a linguistic landscape kind of project, and that's what we are doing, okay, for contributing, okay, to that knowledge regarding how do we perceive our regional language, Andalusian. So interim results, first, okay, 400 samples, okay. Not all provinces are, we have 8 provinces in Andalusia. Not all of them are so much represented than others. This is a lack, okay, that we need to cover. I see my friend from Jaén here, okay, complaining. Yeah. But this is because we, you will see after, okay. What's the reason? There is a very funny reason for that. And by context, we have collected a significant number of graffitis or stickers, okay, in the screen, in the streets, okay, in the walls, where people opt for writing, okay, in Andalusian. Even if Andalusian has not an official scripture, okay, and a spelling and orthography, people can intuitively write in Andalusian and use Andalusian vocabulary or morphosyntaxis, collocations, whatever. And they do. We in Andalusia also, okay, our organizations, we are promoting a standardized spelling for Andalusian. And people are also, some of them, using, okay, a proposal, a bottom-up proposal, okay, of orthography. This is not an official one. It's not a top-down. It's bottom-up. They're opting using that, okay, instead of using an intuitive spelling, using this orthography. And as I said, commercial establishments formatting their local identity against using English or using Spanish, okay? What we have here is local food. So my restaurant or my shop or local fashion, my shop, it's titled in Andalusian. By source, okay, most bottom-up signs in the public space. So produced by individuals or business, not public bodies. But we have some samples, okay? That's happening from time to time. And what we can learn, okay, from when the public bodies decide to use Andalusians, very interesting. So as said, prevalence of bottom-up signage, individual business, linguistic features that you can find, okay, because you are snapshotting scriptures, isn't it? On titles, on signs, okay? Mostly intuitive spelling. Then Andalusian vocabulary and phraseology, is that word in English? Or I made it up? Okay, you understand. That's basically the uses, okay, of Andalusian depicted on the public signage. And for context, commercial identities and says business owners, shops, restaurants name their establishment using Andalusian to mark their local character and roots. Then urban art and protests, graffitis, stickers to indicate either poetical aspects using Andalusian instead of Spanish, standard Spanish, or protests, okay, in the context of protesting against justification or the government or whatever, they opt for using Andalusian, okay, and marking their identity or reflecting that this is a regional protest, okay, so they opt for using the Andalusian language. There's also 2 cases that we have been collecting some samples, okay, that are very good for us, okay, which is festive traditions. In Andalusians, we have some traditional festivities as ferias or romerías. Some are religious, others don't, okay, and you can see that the Andalusian language is also found in the letters, okay, for titling the social tents, okay, this ephemeral architecture, which is done, okay, for the ferias, or the pilgrimage houses. So there are some festivities which are a religious pilgrimage, and the houses where the people stay are titled also in Andalusian. And also for localizing some advertisements, some brands opt for when they are um, advertising their products in Andalusia, it's good, okay, to use Andalusian language for localizing the language locally in the region of Andalusia. Those are for context, okay, that we have found in the 400 samples that we have. Here you have some of them, some of the samples. I do not have the time of going through all of them in detail. Let me focus into two. The first one, okay, on the top left corner, Ancalahuela will tell, okay, in Andalusia, in English, will state the house of my grandmother. The house of my grandmother. So Ancalahuela is some form of contraction, okay? It's a word, okay, that we use in Andalusia for referring to my grandmother's house. So if a restaurant has picked up, okay, that name, is because it means you are going to eat here very local food like with your grandmother cook for you, your Andalusian grandmother cook for you. And the restaurant picked up, okay, that name. Very the same way, okay, this the second one is a fashion shop, local fashion shop in Barbate, as far as I can remember, Cádiz, the another one in Puerto de Santa Maria, both in Cádiz, okay? But and it's using some phraseology, okay, popular phraseology that we have in Andalusia. Nonina states for something like, oh yeah, you bet, okay, kind of expression, isn't it? Okay, and they are using this, okay, very it's a expression that we use in Andalusia for titling the shop. Below you have scriptures, stickers. The first two, okay, they are using some of the proposals of greeting on a standardized Andalusian. Again, bottom up. This is not an official one. The first one, okay, to promote write in Andalusian. Please write in Andalusian. That's what the sticker states too. And the second one, it's like a political linguistic statement. Andalusian is my language, and it's written with a standardized proposal of Spanish or of Andalusian language, and an intuitive form also the last one. Okay, referring to some poetical abstracts. Need to continue. So, and then all those samples. What I have shown here is the representative samples that we have in our corpus. Okay, as suggest. Let me see if I can show here in a second. This is the website that we have. If it works. It's a pity. Maybe it's a thing of the connection here in the room or something. Okay, if you do with your phone, okay, it will work for sure. I don't know exactly what's going on. Maybe the proxy of the university, whatever. I wanted to show, okay, the distribution of the graffitis that are all along the territory. Okay, but well, as said, you can check later for yourself. Let me just continue. So this is the majority of the samples that we have. But then we have other samples in other contexts, different contexts, which is the, for example, a public signage, okay, from a public body in a municipality on the left, okay, you have a poster, okay, announcing a local feria, local festivity, and it is reflecting Andalusian language there, okay, a public body. Also, we have a traffic sign, okay, below, okay, this is very interesting. In a traffic sign, because it's using Andalusian, a traffic sign, a public traffic sign, because, you know, the public bodies also tends to use not so many formal language and use a close language, okay, to the local population. So instead, that signage there, which is, instead of telling you, it is forbidden to park your car here, okay, because this is only for dropping your children when leaving them on school, okay? That's very aggressive, isn't it? So Andalusian is used by the public body to make a more closer statement, okay, when forbidding, okay, a traffic sign. It's saying in Andalusian, un besito y a huir. But okay, but in English we translate like a kiss the boys, okay, and let them go, okay, and do not park here, okay. But it's expressed in Andalusian in a closer language, okay? So it's a very good use, okay, for local language, I will tell. Then some of the examples that I have been also referring in the interim results, which is you can see here, okay, social tent in a romeria, in a pilgrimage, and they're using Andalusian as well, and another religious one, Peña Rociera. Very hard to translate that in English, okay? But it's another religious festivity, okay? And they're using Andalusian as well. And some advertisement forum brands that are using Andalusian language, one for selling an Andalusian product, okay, which is gazpacho salmorejo, some of the most popular tomato soups, okay, that we have in the Andalusian culture, and they are using an Andalusian word, okay, as a brand, okay, because it is an Andalusian product. But the second one, it's Kaiku is, as far as I can remember, a Basque country, another region in Spain, brand. But when they do the advertisement of their product in Andalusia, they use some, they do, they try to go, thank you, close, okay, to expressing that in Andalusian, some contract forms that we use a lot in our oral expression in Andalusian. So, from our perspective, let me characterize the Andalusian language from a socio-linguistic perspective, okay, not a linguistical features description of the language. What do we state? What do we state from our organizations? And we have a lot of scientific support and researchers in Spain, in Andalusia, that are providing us, okay, with the scientific framework for stating what we are stating here. This is what we base. The Andalusian language, which origins can be traced back to the 13th, 16th centuries, nowadays is an endangered language, mostly reserved to secondary or informal use due to its historical minorization in favor of Castilian or Standard Spanish, which is the language of prestige, okay, in our country. So even more so today, being the language used in formal education and the mass media, the Spanish. So Andalusian language should not be confused with speaking Castilian or Spanish with Andalusian accent. Should not be confused with that, which is one of the results of its minorization and also a burden for dialectology studies, we state. Nevertheless, thanks to the distinctive ethno-linguistic identity of the Andalusian population, there has been for decades thriving attempts to preserve and revitalize the Andalusian language, mostly expressed through publishing dictionaries, also through literature. We even have a Nobel Prize in Literature, Juan Ramón Jiménez, who written, okay, in Andalusian, a Nobel Prize. Arts and promotion of the digital support for the language, as we are doing here, okay, as I'm presenting here with the applications and so. The Andalusian language has an official protection from the Spanish and the Andalusian public institutions. If you compare with other endangered languages, we can tell, okay, that we perceive that we have a very strong legal framework for protecting the Andalusian language. We don't know what's going on, that civil organizations has to protect the language, okay, because the public body aren't doing, even if they are mandatorily obliged, okay, but the Spanish law, okay, which states that the co-official language can be regulated by the regional laws. Then our regional law state in the basic goal of the Andalusian region, one of the basic goals of the law of the Andalusian region, basic, not a secondary goal, a basic, is to defend, promote, study, and provide prestige, okay, to the Andalusian variety, okay, will be translated, modalidad lingüística, I think, okay? Dialect, language, my preferred option. And that it's translated, when you go to see the curriculum in primary and secondary school, there are chapters, okay, that tells also, it is a goal of the education in Andalusia that the students, the pupils, okay, to recognize the Andalusian language, okay? And that's something that it is not going on. And also in the public TV in Andalusia, the regional TV, the public one, states that the presenters in the TV, they can opt for Andalusian instead of Spanish if they want. So mass media, education, legal framework, but even so, have a look, guys. The Andalusian universities, they have a linguistic landscape project, which is called Planeo, okay? And it's not studying the Andalusian language, only the relationship of Spanish with other foreign languages in the public space. We actually, from our organizations, we approached, okay, to the universities in Andalusia that are doing this study to say, hey, guys, we might understand that during the scope of your project, you left Andalusian behind. But we are a civil organization, we are conforming a corpus, and we can contribute back, establishing. And I have to tell, they dismiss our proposal in a very rude way. Rude way. We have envy, okay, when we see other strategies of linguistic landscape in other regions, okay, like in Valencia or in the Basque country. And they provide, okay, very interesting insights, like in Valencia happens something similar, okay, that in Andalusia, okay, that there are more bottom-up signs than top-down. But in the Basque country, when they have strong political, linguistic policy, they have found that as you go down into the downtown, to the commercial downtown, English and Spanish is preferred above the regional language, okay, tourism, okay, as you can see. We would love to see, okay, studies like that. So then, our goal, okay, of being here, and I'm finishing my presentation, our ambition is that we will be reaching the 5,000 samples because we are going to invest in public advertisement, in social media, in the internet, okay, to aim the population to know this project and to contribute, okay? And we are doing this, okay, because we want the university, the Spanish university or universities abroad, if you think this is an interesting exercise, what we are doing here, we will be very happy, okay, of getting in touch with you to see if we can do further research into the what we are trying to do from the civil organization end, okay? If we make to do that, okay, as I said, everything will have worth it. Either other way, okay, we keep protesting, okay, by occupying what the university should be doing, in our view. So as said, this is my email. Please take note, okay, if you want to further cooperation or reference. And really thank you, okay, guys, for being here. Thanks.